Hello coaches, welcome back to another Modern Soccer Coach Breakdown. This week we're looking at Jose Mourinho pre-season training session with Fenerbahçe. How does he organise his session? How does it flow? How does he structure it between the tactical and the physical, and some warm-up stuff as well? Really interesting stuff. If you want the breakdown to this video and you want the breakdown to the exercises and the dimensions, you can get them for free on the link below, modernsoccercoach.com. And when you're there, please check out the Modern Soccer Coach pre-season bundle. Is available for 7 more days and then it expires, so please check it out. I'll put it on the link below as well, modernsoccercoach.com/shop. Tons of resources if you're planning for pre-season training. It's perfect to get some ideas and maybe some processes around that. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy. Alright, Jose, here we go. Alright, we always start these sessions with objectives, but without understanding Jose's session plan and his game model, we're all very interested in how he's going to set his team up, and he's always been ahead of the game in terms of tactical periodization, session planning. Real innovator of the game back in the day. So without understanding all the different variables that go into it, it's difficult to know the objectives, but I'm going to share the exercises and the flow, and then at the end of the video I'm going to talk about basically what I would say he's trying to get out of the session and what makes the session a little bit different than maybe traditional pre-season planning that we usually see. That's coming up at the end. But first off, let's look at the 3 exercises that he used in the session. Okay, the first one is a speed agility competition. This was an extension of a traditional warm-up where players are organised into 2 teams. You've got a server positioned who looks to be a coach who's positioned about 5-10 yards ahead. Both teams go at the same time, so the first player in each team goes, passes the ball into the server, the coach, then does some speed work, and then receives a pass from the coach as they come out, and then looks to play into the mini goal as quick as possible. The first player to score into the mini goal gets a point, and then the next 2 go. So this is something that looks to be 3, 4, 5 minutes, little fun competitive exercise just to get the energy going, and again a little bit of a soccer component into the warm-up as well, which of course Jose has that famous quote, doesn't he, about the piano player doesn't run around the piano to get warmed up. So maybe there's some of that there in this as well. But a competitive exercise, fun, and again that extension of the warm-up to get the players ready for the session. Alright, the next exercise, Jose then moved into a 5v5 tactical exercise. So this was outside the area of the box on one of the ends of the pitch. So you've got a defensive team organised into a back 4 and 1 holder. You've got an attacking team organised into, it seems to be a midfield 4 and 1 centre forward. The coach plays the ball into the attacking team, who are simply looking at moving the ball and then create a goal scoring opportunity. It looks to be either with a shot on the edge of the box or from a cross. There's not a lot of movement ahead of the ball, so it's a lot of square passes and then a cross, or square passes and shot. If the defensive team win possession, they're looking then to score in either of the 3 mini goals. So there's a transitional element to it. When the transition happens, the attacking team are encouraged, it looks, to be aggressive in the counter press as the +1 in those transition moments, so it becomes almost a 6v5. So the objective here could be to work on the relationship between the back 4, the way the attackers are positioned. There's a lot of shifting, focus on distances. Of course, Mourinho is famous for his defensive work, so it could be to establish key principles around the defensive side, or from attacking perspective, it could be that element of playing off the 9 or a counter pressing opportunity as well. So interesting setup, the 3 goals, and work to rest ratio is probably about a 3-1 as well. Alright, the third and final exercise is a 3v3, high intensity 3v3 game. Love this idea. Again, if you want the breakdown to these and the dimensions, you can get them on the link below for free on the Modern Soccer Coach website. This exercise takes place in an area with 2 mini goals on one end and 2 gates as poles on the other end. So the coach serves into the possession team, who are looking to complete 5 passes before scoring into either of the mini goals. But if the defensive team win possession, they're looking to dribble through one of the gates. A lot of 1v1 work in this here. If they do score by dribbling through the gates, the rules now change, and the defensive team now keep possession and now become the attacking team and score into the mini goals. So it adds an element of transition. It also changes the type of defending for each one. One's a little bit more zonal with the mini goals, whereas the 1v1 goal where you have to dribble It's very, very physically demanding because there's so much 1v1. So it's short and sharp games. The nature of the 1v1 defending again is really physically demanding. So it's not a free-flowing game. When you watch this with Fenerbahçe, it wasn't pass, 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 score. There wasn't a lot of goals. There seemed to be a big emphasis on the defensive side. He also had a halfway line in the game as well, which could have been a reference point just to manage distances, or maybe something in possession as well to get those angles of support. So there you have it, coaches. Just some ideas around session design. Again, we don't know how Jose plans his sessions and the work that goes in around his principles and his game models. We don't have access to that type of information, unfortunately. A lot of it is educated guesses or just guesses on maybe he's working on this and maybe he's working on that, and that might seem like a redundant exercise, but I actually think it's a really important process for coaches to go through, is to look at another coach's work and say, well, maybe they're doing that because of this, or maybe they're doing that because of that. Because that gets the wheels turning and again allows you to challenge your perception and your perspective to another coach's perspective, which also then has the ability to increase your perspective or change it, which I always think is really, really healthy. The element that stood out to me with Jose's session plan on this occasion was the fact that he went from the short warm-up, the extension of the warm-up competitive game, into the 5v5 tactical element, and then into the physically demanding work, the 3v3 game. Because traditionally we move from spaces, we move from smaller spaces, which would be the high intensity warm-up activity, then into the slightly bigger area, then into the tactical work. And a lot of coaches, including myself, would design sessions around increasing the tactical load as you go on, where he's put the tactical right in the middle of it. So why has he done that? Why has he almost put the tactical side before the build-up and the progression side? And a reason for that may be fatigue. He may want the players at a certain point where they have more energy to take on information or more energy to play that 5v5 game and get quality out of it. The aspect of pre-season then means that, again, there is going to be a physical component and you don't know what scheduling. So what day is this? Is this a high intensity day or is this a re-entry day? You're not really sure. But maybe it's something that you're wanting to get the physical load towards the end. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And again, you're looking at Jose Mourinho with a staff and you're expecting planning of that to be at a really, really high level. So again, I always like seeing things a little bit different. I always like things that challenge our perception of traditional ways of working or traditional ways of thinking. Jose's always done that. He doesn't get the credit sometimes for being at the forefront of, again, the tactical periodization element of it and all those sides of the game. But he's been doing this for 20 plus years at a really, really, really high level. So it's great to still take away some things there and learn and again use that there for talks, discussions amongst your coaching colleagues or your staff. So I always think that's really positive. But if this is something that you enjoy looking at and you want some more other coaches, we might take a look at Vincent Kompany at Bayern Munich. I would love to take a look at how he's structuring it. But if you have a coach that you would like to have a look at and you'd have a coach and say, oh, I'd love to see how that session goes. Again, we can't get access to get on a plane and get over there. But the way YouTube is, we can potentially get the breakdown. We can have a good discussion about it and maybe look at something a little bit closer. So please like and subscribe. I really, really appreciate the work. I love session design. I love especially around pre-season how people organize and structure their work. I find it fascinating. So again, if you want the dimensions, you can get them for the link below, as well as the special offer of Modern Soccer Coach 7 days. Please don't miss it. Thank you so much for the support. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.